Hello AOS fans, Robin here, back once more with a Road to the Grand Clash piece for you. Today I'm talking about my journey to the Grand Clash and where it's going. My journey's been slightly wobbled by the news from Games Workshop that there will be a new organised play rule about boards. Now this won't affect me too much because I haven't played much organised play before, but this new organised play rule is that you cannot use the same side of a game board more than one in each match. And therefore you're going to have to use a minimum of 2 different board games in total, maybe even a third. Well, I suppose you've got 4 board game sides, I suppose, if you have 2 boards. That's what it says in the rules. But basically you're going to have to use 2 or 3 different sides, depending on whether you're a 2-game or a 3-game rubber. Now, how does this affect things? I think, on balance, this is a really great ruling. Looking at some of the match reports from various people online, there's a tendency for players to keep picking the same board over and over again. I think in one of them, basically, the 2 sides both picked the same board for all three of the games in the final, maybe, or one of the important games anyway. I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically they both chose one of the boards. I can't remember which one it was, and they both chose it for. So it's basically the same game 3 times over in the same arena, if you like. And that, to be honest, if you're going to make this game varied and interesting, it's a little bit dull. I think certain boards definitely favour certain warbands in certain matchups, and which sounds a bit wishy-washy, but I think there are some very definite good ones to pick for Mollog that you can offset the one with the 3 hexes, 3 lethal hexes together. Means Mollog has to come right around it. Although possibly that's changed slightly since calculated risk has come out, whether that's perhaps such a good thing to do, but it certainly forces Mollog around to slow him down or through those lethal hexes to take damage. And I think, if you would basically, if you could pick that every time and offset it, and now you can't do that anymore in this coming up Grand Clash. So I think that's a really good thing. I think it adds variation. Obviously it means people have to think a little bit more about their board setup. Now I have to say, Pete and I aren't massive thinkers of our board setup. We probably need to change that before we get to the Grand Clash. So we have definite boards we prefer. I'm still tinkering with mine, which one I prefer for the Godsworn Hunt and the Eyes of the Nine. I'm not quite sure which one it is. I mean, I've definitely boards with lethal hexes that are cropping up more and more, so that people can score calculated risk. And of course, there are some that are much better than others for it. There are some where you can make sure you've always got, whichever way around your opponent puts it, there's always one sort of in the direction that you want to go. And that may change if you can only choose that. You can only choose that in one game now. So maybe your best selection of lethal hexes is going to go. Similarly, blocked hexes, there, if you're playing a defensive warband, there are definitely some combinations of hex that are much better than others for hiding behind and keeping the opponent at bay, and you can't rely on that anymore. So I think this change is only a small one, but I think it's a really good one, one that I'm looking for. It does mean I'm going to have to think a bit more deeply about my board choice. I pretty much had thought it's just going to be a case of working out which is the best one to take if I win the roll-off and which is the best one to take if I lose the roll-off, and just go from there. And obviously there will be some variation depending on who I'm playing, but generally the same play style would come out every game. So I mean, obviously that means I've got to change, everybody's got to change, and I think that's a really good thing. So I mean, that's all I really wanted to say. I don't know if you've seen this rule change. I've seen it in a couple of places. It's not been widely publicised, but a few people have commented it on the Facebook pages. So I just thought I'd highlight that and sort of. So, what do you think about it? Do you think this is a good move? Do you think it's a cynical way of ensuring you sell new boards? I'm not sure it is, particularly because everybody gets two in a box when they start playing the game. So I particularly think it's that. Obviously, it does encourage you a little bit to buy extra boards. Although, of course, us completists, we all buy the new boards anyway, so I'm not really sure that that's going to make much of a difference there. So there you go, that is the new board changes brought in by Games Workshop for the Grand Clash in July. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you soon. Bye!